As the first light of dawn shimmered on the surface of the languid contraband bayou, Detective Walter Griffin sat in his office at the Lake Charles Police Department, a fortress of paperwork threatening to spill over onto the floor. His chiseled face was a topography of deeply etched lines, each one telling a tale of resilience and heartache. His gaze was a potent blend of tenacity and regret, a perpetual testament to the earthquake that had shattered both his city and his spirit years ago. Outside his office window, Lake Charles unspooled in languid southern rhythms, weather-beaten boats bobbing on the lake, antiquated buildings basking in the sun's weak glow, and folks exchanging pleasantries over the smell of Creole food and the strains of Zydeco music. The city was a sepia-tinted postcard, a facade of normalcy overlaying a scarred landscape that echoed Walter's inner turmoil. "Griffin," a voice echoed through the room. It was Captain Sanderson, a gruff man with a stern demeanor. He tossed a manila folder onto Walter's desk. "You might want to have a look at this." Inside was a litany of thefts at a local antique shop, nothing remarkable except for their persistency and an odd detail. All stolen items were related to the town's esoteric past, a time of whispered secrets and shadowy figures who worship forgotten deities. "That's something for Richard," Walter mumbled, his thoughts already drifting to his estranged partner. Once comrades, they were now distant as continents, a rift caused not by anger, but by unspoken guilt and the weight of shared trauma. Captain Sanderson shook his head. "He specifically asked for you, Walter. Said he needs an old friend." Walter sighed, fingers tracing the picture of a strangely adorned statuette from the file. The lure of mending old ties and the call of an intriguing mystery were compelling. Yet there was something else, a flicker of fear and excitement that made his heart quicken. As the day descended into twilight, he found himself standing outside the antique shop, a small establishment called the Timeless Vessel. Its narrow windows, crowded with an assortment of bygone trinkets, peered out onto the world like ancient, knowing eyes. Richard was already there, his face softer in the warm sunset glow. He looked at Walter, eyes full of an earnest request for amends. "Walter, I needed someone who wouldn't back away. You're the only one, old friend." Walter responded with a slight nod, casting a last look at the antique shop before stepping inside. He was stepping into a new chapter of his life, a swirling melody of old memories, lingering doubts, and the nascent thrills of an unfolding mystery. As he ventured deeper into the echoes from the deep, he could feel the silent stirrings of a cosmic horror that would soon bellow into an earth-shattering roar. On the creaking wooden floors of the Timeless Vessel, amidst the detritus of past eras, Detective Walter Griffin could feel the whispering echo of history. Each artifact was a story, frozen in time and lost in the sea of forgetfulness, waiting to be unearthed. Richard guided him through the labyrinth of oddities, their presence in the musty room, whispering tales of ancient grandeur and eerie rituals. Every stolen object held a common thread, a connection to an age-old cult that had thrived in Lake Charles, cloaked in mystery and horror. Their icon, a grotesquely adorned statuette, a miniature grotesquerie carved from some unknown black stone. A nameless dread began to unfold within Walter, like the slow-blooming petals of a night-blooming flower. A piece of forgotten history was threading its way into their present, wrapping them in a chilling embrace. Under the dim light, Richard's face, usually an open book, seemed like an unreadable enigma. His eyes darted to and fro, surveying the antiquated relics as if looking for a piece of a grand, unnerving puzzle. "They're not just thefts, Walter," Richard confessed, his voice barely a whisper. "It's as if something's waking up, something we don't fully comprehend." And so, Walter found himself ensnared in a veil of shadows, the underbelly of Lake Charles revealing itself, a tale of forgotten cults, ancient cosmic entities, and a sinister mystery involving his trusted partner. He could sense an insidious transformation creeping in, like the onset of an unrelenting storm. The same silent dread he'd experienced before the earthquake shattered his life. As the days slipped by, the duo delved deeper into the darkness. They traversed the sultry swamps under the moon's baleful gaze, where alligators lurked just beneath the surface. their eyes glowing like hungry stars. They visited dusty libraries and old town records, seeking stories passed down from generation to generation, each tale carrying a fragment of the cosmic horror that was beginning to stir. Richard's enthusiasm was infectious, but there was a peculiar fervor in his eyes that gave Walter pause. The Richard he knew was stoic, level-headed. This man, however, was as restless as a wind-whipped bayou, his eyes burning with a fanatic's flame. Yet he dismissed these thoughts, attributing them to the strain of the investigation and the shared tension of impending doom. A cold wind swept through Lake Charles, carrying whispers of an ancient past, a warning of the approaching horror. The city seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the abyss to stir and expose the terrifying reality hidden beneath the surface. The veil of shadows had descended, their path disappearing into the dark unknown, drawing them further away from the light of understanding. As Walter stared into the burgeoning darkness, he couldn't shake the feeling that betrayal was looming, ready to strike when least expected. The echoes from the deep were about to become deafening. The days morphed into an ominous kaleidoscope of discoveries and unsettling revelations. A backdrop of old-town charm shrouded a narrative of ancient horrors and arcane rites, the essence of Lake Charles transforming from a quaint settlement to a stage for an unsettling cosmic drama. In the heart of this swirling tempest of ancient lore and mystery, Walter witnessed a disturbing metamorphosis in Richard. His partner's fervor had intensified, crossing into the realm of obsession. It was during a clandestine meeting within the catacombs of the city library that Walter unearthed the horrifying truth. Richard's eyes danced with a maddening glow as he unfurled a map, ancient as time itself, pinpointing the location of the final stolen artifact. It was then that the veil of deception lifted, and Richard's betrayal struck Walter like a venomous serpent. His friend and confidant was orchestrating the thefts, a puppet master manipulating the strings of their reality. In the glow of a single wavering lantern, Richard revealed the unthinkable. His rambling voice echoed in the claustrophobic space, spinning a tale of ancient cosmic entities that existed far beyond the realm of human comprehension. The stolen artifacts were not mere objects of historical interest, but keys to a terrifying doorway, a cosmic gateway waiting to be unlocked. Walter watched, his heart pounding in his chest as Richard traced the twisted path leading to their inevitable endgame. He spoke of the statuette with a reverence that bordered on insanity, referring to it as an idol of worship, the embodiment of an entity whose awakening would rend the veil of reality. A gust of frigid wind shrieked through the old library, sending a chill down his spine. The gravity of the situation felt like a gargantuan weight pressing him down. His world, already cracked by past traumas, threatened to shatter completely under the onslaught of this mind-numbing revelation. His partner's betrayal was a cruel sting, but the dreaded unleashed was far greater, an immense, suffocating terror that dwarfed humanity's significance in the grand cosmic theater. The echoes from the deep transformed into an ear-splitting cacophony, threatening to drown Walter in a sea of cosmic horror. In the face of this terrifying reality, his old resolve rekindled. He remembered his own resilience, his survival amidst the rubble of the devastating earthquake. His world had fallen apart once, yet he had pieced it together, brick by brick, and he was determined to do so again. He would not let Richard's madness ruin their city, their lives, and the fabric of reality itself. A heart-rending sense of loss washed over him as he left the library. The image of Richard's manic obsession imprinted in his memory. Yet amidst the betrayal and despair, there was an emerging determination. The echoes from the deep were deafening, yet he was prepared to face the music, bracing himself for the final, terrifying crescendo in the upcoming finale. The sultry Louisiana night lay heavy on Lake Charles, the city veiled in a sense of foreboding. Walter stood on the cusp of an unfathomable abyss, the glow of the pale moon reflecting in his grim, resolute eyes. As he approached the location marked on Richard's map, he could feel the hum of ancient energy. It was a clearing by the bayou, a forgotten shrine where the forgotten cult had once chanted their praises to an entity far beyond human comprehension. The very air seemed to throb with anticipation, trembling beneath the weight of an impending cosmic event. "Richard," Walter's voice cut through the pulsating silence. His former partner was there, the statuette held high in his trembling hands. Richard turned, his face a grotesque mask of desperation and madness, twisted by the unseen puppeteer manipulating his strings. "Walter," Richard rasped, his voice a distorted echo. "You don't understand. We're nothing. Dust. We must make way for the true lords of the cosmos." Walter's heart pounded in his chest like a frantic drum. He watched as Richard began an eldritch chant, the words reverberating through the night. The air shimmered. Reality itself seemed to warp, teetering on the precipice of the unknown. The grotesque statuette in Richard's hand pulsated with an unearthly light. The ground trembled beneath Walter's feet, an ominous quake that mirrored the catastrophic tremors from his past. Yet this was more terrifying, a seismic shift not of the earth, but of reality itself. With a burst of adrenaline-fueled bravery, Walter lunged at Richard, attempting to disrupt the ritual. They grappled. Two friends turned enemies at the altar of cosmic terror. Walter's hand closed around the statuette, wrenching it free from Richard's grasp. As he hurled it into the murky waters of the bayou, the world righted itself with a gut-wrenching jerk. Richard howled, a sound of loss and despair that sent shivers down Walter's spine. Reality had stabilized, yet the cosmic horrors that had been half-glimpsed left a lasting scar on their souls. The experience had forever altered their understanding of existence, shaking their perception of reality to its core. A profound sense of weariness washed over Walter as he stared at Richard's crumpled form. Their friendship had been the ultimate casualty in this twisted game of cosmic horror. Walter walked away, the harrowing echoes of the deep still ringing in his ears. He left Lake Charles behind, a city forever scarred by its dance with the unimaginable. The knowledge of humanity's insignificance weighed heavily on him, yet he clung to his resilience, a beacon of hope in the face of the cosmic void. The echoes from the deep were silenced, but their resonances lingered, turning Walter Griffin into a solitary traveler on the road of life, forever fleeing from the unseen. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it and subscribe to our channel, where you can find more similar stories, and click on the bell icon to never miss one. There is plenty more cosmic horror to come from the Eldritch Tales Factory. Stay tuned, and until next time.